Welcome back to the Unanimous Decision Podcast. I'm your host, D-Palm. Follow me on Blue Sky. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on all the socials at DPalm66. Follow the show at UDPod. Follow the entire MTR network at, you guessed it, the MTR network. You found us. Don't you dare lose us. Subscribe on iTunes. Subscribe on Spotify. Subscribe everywhere you get your podcast for free $99. Subscribe on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. We're dragging this whole podcast thing into 2015, one episode at a time. Thank you guys for checking in on the YouTube. I appreciate all the comments, likes, shares, all the good stuff. It helps somehow. I don't know how, but I know it helps. So just do that thing. I give you lots of talking. You just do me 2 or 3 clicks a week. I really appreciate it. Make sure, like I said, we're brought to you by the MTR Network. Make sure you subscribe to all our offerings, including the new Insanity Check, where Chris talks about all of this shit and helps us navigate it. It keeps us a little sane. And as always, brought to you by DanielPalmerMortgages.com. If you can afford your rent, you can afford a mortgage. It's my job to help you qualify. It's not why you're here, though. You're here because it's the off season and you really want to talk about sports. But this is not your average sports show. So I bring in vetted, concerned, subject matter experts to talk about certain things. And by God, we got that today. Give it up for Cam Hawkins. He is, you can follow him on social media at Seahawk. He's at the Undefeated, The Ringer, PW Torch. If you're a wrestling fan, he's probably right behind you, writing something you're going to love. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, doing well, man. Happy to be here. Always happy to chop it up with my guy. Yeah, man, everything's everything. Everything that should be in motion is in motion. And that's always a good feeling. So, yeah.
So, man, it's been a while since we talked. I do want to touch on it really quickly. How do we feel about the baby Spurs overachieving?
It was a fun run. You saw right there at the end, there's guys who have maybe not been here, but guys who have been together in these moments. And it is, I think the cool thing about it is, I had to watch Spurs in 2013, not get it done against Miami. I didn't sleep well for a year. It was very tough. This is a different thing, though. I'm sure those kids slept great the night after they lost, which is not an indictment on them, but they don't know what they're doing yet. You know what I mean? Like to do so much so soon. Salute to the Knicks. Now it's now. Doing what I do for a living. A lot of my bosses and peers and friends are New York or New York based. Okay. And they've tried to some of them are great guys. Most of them are great people, but they tried to
the carve out.
They tried to nudge at me. And I'm like, I'm happy for you, but this is not that. You know what I mean? I'm glad this has happened for you. I'm glad you got to experience this for the first time in your life. This would have been my 6th. I'm cool. I'm all right. But God bless him, man. It was a fun watch. You just hated it had to be you. But yeah, man, I love the baby Spurs. I think now listen, I'll say this though.
Uh-oh.
Listen, I don't know if I've ever seen a shorter leash than the one they just put on Mitch. They say, hey,
hold on. See, this is what I was excited the most about. You got to watch a second-year coach. The way these kids are going to grow, he's going to grow. That's
for sure.
Why and that's why I really hope that we can joke about the short leash, but I hope that they're patient. I hope that they can show the commitment because you got Palpatine in the back orchestrating shit. Let my man let my man figure it out. Because I think the consistency, I think the relationship he's exhibited with Wemby, the trust they have in each other, I think that's a bond that you can really build around. Yeah, with some X's and O's mistakes in the finals, you're damn right there were. This is an interim coach who got elevated. You know what I'm saying? So, let's not forget that he's also learning on the job. One of the cool things, and I hate this new podcast culture where it's I'm an athlete. Here's what's going on in the locker room back when I played. I'm like, no, man, shut your goddamn mouths. But they had Byron Scott on to talk about to Steven Jackson. And Steven Jackson started the All-Star rookie game, and he didn't play anymore. And for the first time, you got to watch them both be like, Scott was like, I was 36. I was a first-year coach. I didn't know what I was doing. And you hear C-Stack react oh, my God, 36. These are men now. Mm-hmm. And you recognize what you were at that age. I say all that to say this. I'm glad you're less emotionally invested in 2013. That shows growth in you as a person.
It was bad, dude. I couldn't sleep. And the crazy, to put it all into a nice little bow, that was the same game 6 was the same night that Yeezus came out.
Yes.
And so I can't hear Bound 2 without thinking of Ray Allen hitting that shot. Good thing I don't listen to Kanye anymore. But yes, it was the same night, and so that song just rolls.
Game 6, I was living in Philadelphia, and I had tickets to this Crit concert. I was so excited for this Crit concert. And then when game 5 happens, I'm like, okay. But then someone comes to my office and they're sick. And I watch me get sick. And I watch me get Susan sick. And I'm like, I'm about to eat these tickets. And I'm mad. The whole game I'm furious. But I'm also a LeBron fan. So when that corner 3 happens, the healing light of Ray Allen shined upon me, my friend. And you were sick, but I was given health.
And then game 7 came around, and D-Wade was just like, nope, I got it.
Absolutely not.
LeBron was like, nope, I got it. It was so impressive, man. And that's like, again, with watching Brunson, the last 2-3 games, it was just like, he was like, nah, like there's just, at this point, there's nothing you can do.
Can I be really real with you?
Mm-hmm.
I love talking to my old friends on doing this thing because you created a segue into what I was going to talk to anyway. Because what we just talked about, we talked about the history of the Spurs and Knicks, the whole stories. It's storytelling.
Yeah.
It's the thing that Peacock, NBC got their licensing back, and they got the ability to kind of do some of those visual essays they do before big games and kind of reintroduce an entire generation to, it's not, sports aren't just a spreadsheet. They aren't just a thing you watch. It's a thing you experience. And I think that this wrestling thing that we love is that writ large. It's that by design. Yeah. And so for those who don't know, those who just say, oh, Cam, he comes and talks about football and basketball. Oh, they talk about comic books sometimes. Cameron Hawkins is my friend, and he is the greatest professional wrestling writer on the planet.
It is such a big compliment. That's so cool.
And you know that the hater in me, it's burning.
Man.
I want the listeners to know that, like, I mean that shit. When the cool things watching you kind of grow and change and evolve, and we talked about your job a little bit before we got on, is like, so you and I are men of a certain age. Mm-hmm. The voices of our generation were the lyrics to the music being played in the ring. To overuse an overused phrase. Yeah. What's been cool now as the sport has evolved is that now, because of the level of access that we have to the whole totality of the art, it's harder to separate the announcer from the in-ring. So now you have people like you who are able to convey larger thematic through lines. So in a way, you've become the lyrics. Because I'm watching My World.
Yeah. Shout out to the little homie, man. Shout out to baby sis. Yeah.
I'm watching My World, and I'm not. And Luchasaurus is fine. And Tony Schiavone means a lot to me emotionally as a child of WCW. But I go back to the interview. Yeah. I'm not hearing Tony. I'm hearing her. I'm hearing you put her journey into words. And so kind of, and I'm calling the shot now as someone who I think is going to evolve into the voice of this generation as far as communicating this art form through another medium. How has that journey been, and what have you learned? Because I remember when you first started doing this, so again, the hater in me, the hater in him, fuck that. One of the first pieces he did a long-form interview with Sting. And as we're going to get into in a minute, your boy's a stinger. I'm a face paint, dye him up, flat top, let's go. I'm a stinger. And he didn't tell me like, oh, by the way, guess what? It was a dunk on me type text that let's just talk. I want to just make sure everyone knows the relationship, what's going on here. But I do want to be honest. It's like, how has it been to like evolve and grow? And honestly, because I know who you are, I know you're kind of a perfectionist like this, to watch yourself grow and change and evolve in your abilities, and to watch you level up. You talked about going back and watching and reading some of the old Ringer stuff, and to watch it juxtaposed with the Saul Rucka interview, or like I said, the My World piece that I keep coming back to. How has that kind of evolution of self grown with your career?
I think the biggest thing for me, so I keep everything, right? Because I'm one of those people who are afraid that, like a bunch of other websites, it's just going to be gone one day. Yeah. So I keep everything I've ever written is in a Google Doc. Like everything's there, right? But I think when we go back to the beginning of it, like again, I always say this, salute to my man Ricky Starks, who didn't have to kick things off. Didn't have to. Chose to do that for me. Put me in touch with my man Danny at AEW, and it's like again, this is not me bragging. Danny was there for so long, and now he's doing kind of some independent consulting. And the last thing he did on the way out was like send a really nice email to AEW press about me and working with me. It was the sweetest thing in the world. But yeah, those guys took a risk on me early, and I think that when I started, it was kind of from a standpoint of I don't know these people. You know, I know Rick, but everybody else they're strangers, and I'm kind of having to prove this thing. Now you fast forward to 2026, you know, almost all the time now, it's somebody I've hung out with or chopped it up with. You know, like the thing with Maya, she wasn't joking. Me and Maya were before this pay-per-view, before her star turn, a month ago, we were sitting outside eating crawfish. You know what I mean? Like that's really the homie. Wow. And you know, I can say it here because we've talked about it. But I'm doing next month's cover story for PWI. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And who is it? My good buddy Trick Williams, who we you know, Trick was the guy I kicked off Uncrowned with. And I mean, like, called Trick on the phone, like, hey, I got a thing. And you know, Trick is a year ago. I called Trick because there was Rosie's homegirl's son had a WWE themed birthday party. And I was like, hey, Trick, I know you're probably busy. You think you could shoot me a video telling little man happy birthday? And Trick's like, Cam, I'll get you in like an hour. Me and Lash are closing on the house. And I was like, how cute. That's so cool. Like, look at you living your best life. But
amazing.
Palm, the coolest thing in the world is 9 out of 10 times, the talent does not know who they're about to be interviewed by.
Oh,
and
wow.
So the fact that, like, because, you know, they do like
the layers of, yeah.
So, like, for me, when my friend pops up on the screen and their friend pops up on the screen and they're immediately excited and disarmed and we catch up on life, like that's the biggest difference. And so, you know, you and I can talk sports all day. We're also in a position where, like Asol Ruka, who I did a piece on last week, you know, I can talk glowingly about University of Oregon athletics. And so to get to weave one of my favorite things aesthetically into one of the wrestlers I like watching the most aesthetically, it was so fun. And it was like, and I, not to brag, that probably took like 2 hours. Because again, it's something that I was already passionate about, just banged it out, right? But, and then, you know, like a Javon Evans who calls me OG and lets me sit in his section at the club.
Time out. As someone you called OG before, see how it feels? It feels good, but not great.
Yeah. I know with him, I know it comes from a place of love. But, you know, guys like him, guys like Swerve, you know, the other side of it really quickly before we get into what we're talking about is there's a little jealousy in my heart. So one day I'm looking at our feed and I see a Kevin Knight feature and I almost cussed somebody out. Now, like, you know, I've known Kev for a couple of years, but like Kev like comes to the house if he's in town and like hangs out with Booster and watches Joe Budden. Like that's my friend like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I literally hit him. I said, Kev, how dare you? He said, Cam, what did I do? I said, you let somebody say, he said, Cam, we don't know who we're talking to. They put us on the Zoom and we talked to somebody. Man, I didn't know. And I was like, it's messed up. So I'm at the point where I am a little bit selfish, but
so you're gonna start sending no-fly lists to your friends, like if this person pops on screen, you say I only speak to Cam Hawkins and hang up the Zoom.
the biggest difference though, Palm, I'm actually in a competitive writer's room, and you know I'm in a writer's room with the guys who created MMA journalism.
Yeah.
the guys who were experts in boxing journalism.
Yeah.
So once again, wow, I love the compliment. You are not the only person to say it. I hope you're not the last person to say it. But I'm fighting for respect all the time, and I think that makes the writing better. You know what I mean? I'm in a room where, hey, listen, I didn't have 1 or 2 times where they were like, "Yeah, Cam, interviewing great, but we're not running with that this week." And I'm like, "The fuck? What you mean you're not running with it?" And again, it keeps me grounded, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, listen, super inside baseball. The Sol Ruka thing I did, and I guess she had a bad spot in a house show with Liv, right?
Yes.
And so they were like, yeah, she locked her socials. Like, we don't think it's a good time. I said, okay, maybe it'll come out, maybe it won't. They just hit me on Friday, like, oh yeah, we dropped it. Fire. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So
did they drop it before or after you dropped that clip?
After. I did the clip.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I did the clip the day that I think I'm also like, Palm, I don't want to be TikTok guy. I don't want to be Reels guy. I love watching guys like
you. See, I'm editing shit, right? Like I too.
But we have to, and it really pisses me off.
It's like, so frustrating.
We have to, and I'm like, bro, I just want to type up these words, get my little check, get some dap, and go about my business. But no, I also have. Okay, last thing I'll say, and then we can talk.
Yeah.
How did I not get the call from Bomani to do the nWo show? Now, I don't know Bo. We've never met.
So this is where you say, I need to text D-Palm. That's yeah. So because Felder's really like Felder's our link, me and Bo's link. And I know Joel, like I can get you. I could.
Again, Joel's my man.
That's a doable thing.
Like Rod's my man.
Yeah, Joel. Joel.
We did. Me and Joel did.
For sure. Then you a lot closer to Rod and them. Yeah. Oh hell.
Yeah. But it was just like what it let me know was, Cam, just go ahead and give somebody that 3%, because like
we've had this conversation.
Yeah. I can't be. I don't like selling myself. I don't like hyping myself up. I don't like promoting. I like being told where to be. And just to bring it all back, and I'm not talking about me anymore. The most flattering thing in the world, Big E, to promote his book, reached out to me to do a show. And I was like, that's it. You know, again, the Sting thing is baby Cam getting to live something out. And like Stone Cold and Lita and, Booker T, like that.
You're just glad I don't have the bell anymore. You're glad the bell's missing.
The name drop.
Rich really been abusing my lack of bell lately. I'm not gonna lie about it.
But the E thing is, okay, the guys who, while I'm not their contemporary, I am the person doing the work at the height of what they do. And if they want to reach out to me to do something, it doesn't get any better than that.
I don't know anything. I haven't talked to anybody. I'm not spoiling anything. When you write the Swerve book, I'm really excited for it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. When the Swerve book drops, I'm very excited for it. Let's talk about why we're here. We're here because it is upon the date of this recording, July 6th, 2026. That means we are 20 years, 30. Oh my God, I'm old. 30 years removed from WCW Bash of the Beach. There's a version of this podcast where we don't talk about any context and we just go through the card. It's the podcast, and very much my core. I think I want to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bore everyone who listens. I am going to set up what's going on in 1996. So in professional wrestling in 1996, the industry, I think the phrase is overused, but I think it's applicable here. A bit of a crossroads. Hulk Hogan has left the WWF post steroid scandal. Both companies are pushing differently sized talent. Let's just put it that way. In the repercussion, and I know we know what we know now about Terry, but let's talk about not Hulkamania because copyrights. Let's talk about the Hulkster pre-July 96. What was your kind of what do you as a kind of wrestling historian here? For me, and this is again outside looking in, it feels like the dead period in the career. It feels like we're not embracing this Kmart Hulkamania. and we spent a bunch of money on Kmart Hulkamania, so we're gonna keep featuring Kmart Hulkamania. What's kind of like in retrospect, kind of is that an appreciable way to look at where Hulk Hogan was?
They led off with a fake parade. And again, we're 10, 11, 12. I was like, man, how cool is that? Like they rolled out the red carpet, everybody's hype. And like it wasn't until years later, I was like, oh, that's not real. Like they like had a bunch of people outside of like Walt Disney Studios, Universal Studios, or whatever the fuck. And like they just said, hey, be excited Hulk Hogan's here. And when you talk about a dead period, it was like, have you seen the new Masters of the Universe?
I haven't yet. I have a child.
Very fun, but very tongue-in-cheek. They make fun of themselves a lot.
Okay.
WCW was dead serious in the things they were trying to do with Hulk Hogan with the
monster
trucks.
The Shockmaster was an earnest attempt. That was not a joke.
The war games and the face pack, like it was so cartoonish, and you know, like you said, they spent so much money on it. They did everything they could to try to recreate and reinvigorate what had been done, not realizing that, you know, like you said, it was post steroids, but the thing had really ran its course with Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. And again, knowing what we know now, knowing about like, you know, the machinations and, you know, being not creative control, but being favored and being considered in all things. You know, it was a lot of it was goofy, a lot of it was silly, and it was never going to take them where they wanted to go because we already saw that thing happen. He's also doing it against like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair are just diametrically opposite in what they present, how they go about their business, what you get in the ring, and you know, they immediately prioritized, you know, Hogan over Flair, which is understandable. You know, you're trying to maximize the thing that made so much money and changed so many lives. But yeah, it was cartoonish. And I'll tell you what, the biggest thing for me was you're doing this to the detriment of the Giant, who can be the greatest wrestler of all time if you get Hulk Hogan out of his way. I go back and watch some of the stuff he was doing. Top rope missile drop kick. That's
a 4-hour podcast.
I got to talk to him one day. I've never spoken with him. How did you feel about what they were doing to you back in 1995, 1996?
I know the answer. The checks cleared, and I was following the advice of everyone older than me. Like it's you know what it is? It's the same thing you've heard 1,000 times. I was young and I needed the money. Like it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like it'll be unique because it's that big ass man, but it won't be unique. I think that's also something that you just touched on. It was a tail end of Hulk Hogan. It was over. It was a wrap. It was moving towards the exits. And for me, as a Sting fan, as you are too, which means one thing about us: we're easily tricked by the slightest lie.
Why is Lex standing so close to him? I guess it's because they're good friends.
Man, he must want to hug him or something. Yeah. Tagging with Ric Flair is a great idea. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, I will say this: by the time we get to Bash at the Beach, the third man thing, and I think this is one of the cool things that kind of, I think that, and getting ready for this podcast, each time I talk about this, I come back around on how pivotal this was, not just for professional wrestling, but for like the media landscape. Because we'll talk about who were you in 1996? Who was Cameron Hawkins in 1996? How old were you?
I was 10.
Okay.
I was 10 years old, and this was like the days of, I was living in Cheyenne, Wyoming. You go to the TV in the basement, back and forth.
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw, Nitro. Monday Night Raw, Nitro. And I think with me, that was like, I was like Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio guy. I said, I've never seen guys do anything like this. So on the flip side, you know, I was Bret Hart guy, but I was Razor Ramon guy, you know? And so, yeah, he was, I was too young to ever see Scarface. I wonder if that would have made me a bigger fan or less of a fan. But, you know, not knowing this is a big white guy from Maryland, I was like, this is the coolest dude in the whole world. So yeah, I was locked in, man. So yeah, you talk about the third guy. When he showed up, I'm pretty sure. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So 96. I turn 11 in July. I'm going to a new school that year. And it's like that. I'm going to sixth grade. It's like the transitional summer. Like everything, you grow up a little bit going to junior high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching my hero be doubted. Is Sting the third man? I'm like, wait a second. Sting's never done nothing. If anything, everyone else is the third man. Sting's the last true man standing. What y'all talking about? How dare y'all? And so I'm watching all this happen. And the turn happens. He gets leg dropped. And then the doubt continues.
Yeah.
And I get to watch the hair get grown out. I get to watch the promo. There are great promos out there. There's tons of them. The greatest promo I've ever seen is Sting with his back to hard camera.
Just head down.
Just head down. I'm just like, what if here's the babyface book. We're gonna do everything the exact opposite for this promo. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful. And it was kind of like it was reading Batman and then reading Dark Knight Returns. It was my Dark Knight Returns. It was my moment where I was like, oh, this could be something else. And I always say that there's two moments in wrestling as a fan. The one where you figure out that, hey, the action maybe worked a little bit.
Yeah.
The second one is the day you realize everything's a work. And when you talked about realizing that parade was a work, like, wait a second. Well, let's talk about the third man. So this is put together like a beautiful magic trick. You got the pledge, which is 3-on-3. You get 3 WCW guys. Hall and Nash are going to be with a mystery third man. And I want to tell you something, Cam. I wasn't a flipper. I wasn't a flipper.
It was just WCW.
I'm a WCW.
Backyard, though.
Atlanta, Georgia, baby. I've been backstage with this point once or twice. So, like, for me, WCW, I was there. WWF, who are these guys?
Yeah.
Who are these? They just became cool because they came in all denim and beat up everyone that you wanted to see. And you were, I respect your tastes and talents because I was a Hour 1 Nitro Mark II.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I watched it the way they wanted me to watch it. It was my candy, so I could sit in and tell me some drama. Tell me Diamond Dallas Page tearing off an nWo shirt and Diamond cutting everybody and escaping to the crowd. The real people's champ. Tell me about the truth. Anyway, let me stop. Because we're talking about July, we're talking about 96, we're talking about Bash at the Beach. And so the match happens. People forget Sting and, Luger and Savage in the face paint. Ridiculous.
I think nobody wanted it more than Macho Man. I am still impressed at him in that match. He was so good. That shit mattered to him. Yeah.
He knew it was in a schmoz. He's like, I'm going to work my ass off. And he does. It's a great match. 3-on-2. The Outsiders doing their thing. It's the first time. This is the first time I'm seeing Hall or Nash wrestle. So all the spots are new to me. All the knees to the corner, the long walk, the sidewalk slam. It's all brand new spots to me. I've never done. What is this? Up north, what are they talking about? And Hogan comes out and slides in the ring. I say this now with the benefit of being 40 and having learned a lot more about life. Bobby Heenan yelling, "Is Hogan the third man?" is the most hater shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yes. You know what the fuck he was doing.
Bobby, you know good and goddamn well he's the third man. How about you calm down?
Yeah, man. Ugh. And he was to the grave, baby.
He meant that shit.
Grave. I don't fuck with him like that. I love him.
Bobby Heenan was right. Long enough timeline. Bobby Heenan was right, y'all. So it all falls apart. You get Hogan and the Flub, the New York World Organization, which they cleaned up in audio, which I don't know how they did that, but it didn't even look like he says it anymore. I think they altered the video. It's very weird. And it changes things because for the first time in my life, the first time I think ever, it's not just heel Hogan. We had heel Hogan before Vince got a hold of him. It is Hogan with the level of heat of people throwing things in the fucking ring.
Yeah.
It was my window into what wrestling used to be. Because, again, 1996, it's been kind of a downslide, especially WCW. As a WCW fan, hadn't been the best. to watch the level. It made me angry. It made the level of heat generated that night.
Mm-hmm.
It's still insane.
Salute to them for powering through it too. Like they were so locked in. Salute to Hogan, Hall, and Nash. They were so locked in. They was beating niggas' asses. People were so frustrated they were getting in the ring. How dare you do this to my heroes?
Still real to me, damn it.
Bro, it'll never. The nostalgia.
So for me, and again, part of this is nostalgia glasses. For me, this is the high point of professional wrestling as an art form.
Mm-hmm.
We're bought in to the point that this nigga's going on Jay Leno and cutting promos. I want to remember in 1996, Jay Leno was bigger than Jesus.
Yeah.
And Hulk Hogan was not just a man on the street bit. No. We're getting full segments with commercials dedicated to listening to how Hulk Hogan could turn his back on America.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this, so 3 big changes. 1, for the first time ever, on a global zeitgeist level, we're introduced to the idea of the anti-hero. Because for a lot of people, cheering for Hulk Hogan is a Pavlovian response. You see Hulk Hogan, you cheer. And now you're cheering because, God damn, they're cool. Damn, black and white promos? New. A spray-painted logo? This wasn't Dirty Harry for 2 hours every 4 years. This was every Monday night. Scott Hall's going to take a poll. You guys here to see WCW? Or are you here to see the NWO? Another one for the good guys. And it's just like, guys, like the heel and face destroyed. Obliterated. And what's really cool is you get to watch a company try to build back from this. So that's the one thing that came in. Number 2 that came in, the adoption of hip-hop and wrestling. So, for a long time, never the twain shall meet. If you wanted to be a rap fan and a wrestling fan, good luck, buddy. Those are opposite magnets. This shit does not compute. But now, Kevin Nash on the West Side.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Tupac-ish bandanas. You got X-Pac saying things I don't think he knew what he was saying.
No idea. Rocking with it though.
It's just me 6. I apologize. I would hate to disrupt internal Sean Waltman multiverses by getting my timeline mixed up. Mm-hmm. He was clearly 6. That's on me. I apologize.
With Thug on his tights. Like, he was stealing title belts, and it was like the coolest thing.
It was the coolest shit in the world. But that gives rise to Little Yachty on SmackDown. That gives rise to Wrestle Rap. That gives rise to Smoke Dizza. Gives rise to all the Griselda cats.
Yeah.
Like it gives rise to this marriage of the culture. It gives rise to Kaz.
Yeah.
Kaz on fucking Hot 97 now because Kevin Nash saw a Tupac video. Like there's a real direct line to this shit. And so, like, do you get Wale Mania without Kevin Nash?
Mm-mm.
If it's just Scott Hall reheating Scarface and Hulk Hogan doing whatever he thinks a bad guy should do, there's no Wrestle Rap.
Yeah.
There's no Fourth Rope.
Not at all.
And so that for me was the 2. That was number 2. The third one, Cam, is the biggest. And I don't know if you and I ever talked about this. What has been the number 1 storyline in professional wrestling for the last 30 years?
Number 1 story in the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, going from 96 to 2026, I would say, anti-hero against their boss.
Corporation, corporate ministry, anonymous Raw GM, heel Michael Cole, The Authority. Currently, they're booking TKO as the heel in their own territory. People don't realize how meta this shit has gotten.
Yeah.
But guess what? All that starts because of Eazy-E. Because Eric Bischoff, who was the behind-the-scenes actual decision-making boss, injects himself not just as an announcer, but as an on-screen character. Not as an on-screen character, an announcer as a fucking heel turn.
Yeah.
He booked himself a heel turn. and it worked. And I heard this pointed out on Bo's show, and I want to make sure everyone knows this. When you watch these highlights, you're like, who's this little guy dancing around Hulk Hogan, smiling, da-da-da. That little man will whoop your ass.
Hey, man. What Pimp C say? Karate only work against people who use karate. I don't know about all that, man. I don't want one kick to the chest.
You know what we're not gonna do? Hear about the time Eric Bischoff kicked my ass. We're not gonna hear about that. I'll tell you that right now. I ain't running no risk. Maybe I would, maybe I won't, but it's not worth the love. That's risk assessment.
Yeah.
That's like nah.
And I tell you what, just to piggyback off of all that, think about everybody who was the guy or a guy during that period who didn't wear black. It totally changed the aesthetic.
And if you didn't wear black, you wore jeans. Hi, Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah, man.
Because he wore black and then he wore jeans.
Yeah, with black rib tape though. Like he was gonna get it in. Like, yeah, they totally changed. It changed how things looked.
It's like you look at the WWE roster in 2014. Everyone's wearing black. You're like, what's happening? What is going on? What did we do to professional wrestling? Because you're right. I hadn't even thought about that. The aesthetic shift. The idea that, like, hey, man, Rey Mysterio's cool, but Rey Mysterio dark is so much cool. Like, it's wild. But at the same time, this is a company that's doing this meta storytelling, this large level, like, changing things. Well, I just got sucked into watching a 4-minute video of Cyclope winning a battle royal and then taking the title off of Chris Jericho. So, like, they contain multitudes, I tell you.
And listen, man, I while I'm not his biggest fan at this point, I think that he's ran its course.
Oh yeah.
How good is he to have basically avoided the nWo in its entirety and to come out of it all as a bigger star than everybody save Hogan and Goldberg and Sting?
I want to make this very clear to everyone. This applies to jobs, it applies to family, it applies to love, and it applies to professional wrestling. Timing is everything. Leaving before the ship sank was the best idea, because otherwise he's a what were they? The radicals? He's a radical.
Yeah. Buddy. How
timing
good
is a motherfucker. But yes, you talk about kind of like Bischoff is Vinnie Mac. Is that, I know because WWE bought all our history and now it's kind of been lost to time. If that makes sense to you? Is that, I'm not crazy by saying Eric Bischoff begat eventually a TKO cell.
Yeah, but I think that what's more interesting about it is, even though we didn't have social media, the internet in the same way back then, when Vince became Mr. McMahon, almost to a man, everybody said, no, this is who he is. Like, you're getting a facsimile of the guy, right? We didn't know Eric Bischoff. And I think that was what was cool about his situation. Definitely very similar, playing a similar role, but he was, clean cut guy in charge, and then he was just a flat out dick. And was just running things. And it was there's absolutely a similarity, but him being more of a wild card through the whole thing, I think was really, really cool. And they always say Vince would never do a thing that he wouldn't, he'll never ask you to do something he wouldn't do, right? And Eric Bischoff took that goddamn power bomb straight to hell. He was made at that point.
I was going to say Eric Bischoff would definitely ask you to do things he wouldn't do, for the record. I do appreciate they did take that Powerball spot like a motherfucking G. However, I see people take things and I'm like, I can't imagine who was like, I would have taken it. Why wouldn't you? There's some questionable decisions, Vampiro. Anyway, that may have been Russo, though. I don't want to paint with too broad a brush. Do you think that the nWo, and obviously I want to talk about a couple aspects here. One, the influence, like we talk about, creating the anti-hero, creating the lather and repeat of everyone hates their boss. Don't you want to fight your boss? And then being able to massage that against heel and babyface lines. Has that gotten stale in the storytelling that we're kind of living in now?
So, like, on the WWE side, You have Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. I think the interesting thing about them is they do have the respect of their peers. They wrestled a lot of those guys. A lot of people came up with them or around them knowing what they did. I think that Tony Khan did himself a real solid being on screen less and less and less.
Yeah,
still running it, but letting that thing kind of take care of itself. I think is really cool. I think your boss ain't got no money either. And now we know that. Like, your boss is going through it too. Like, the guy, you talk about like a TKO. The guy's way up there, they're fucking him too. And so while you don't necessarily feel like you don't feel bad for them, I think that the world felt simpler when it was Austin McMahon and when it was WCW home team against Bischoff and the nWo. I think the world felt easier. I think it was more relatable. We are in a world where, like, Palm, I got kids who want to be video game developers. And I have to find a way to tell them, like, hey, I hope this works out for you.
That job does not exist anymore.
I need you to have another plan. I need you to have another plan. And the reason I get
to Cam, I want to hand load on ammo. That's what I want to do. I want to be a hand loader. I want to hand load individual bullets for an artisanal brand. That's what I want to do, Cam. I want to churn butter, Mr. Hawkins. How do I get
it's the world is so different, and the way things are stacked up, the way they're organized. I don't think that's effective anymore because it's the faceless boss that we feel like we're against now. I don't think it's the same.
This is where I want to talk about the stagnation of particularly WWE storytelling. Because we're recording right now, it is July 6th, before the main event happens on Raw. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I do know that as someone who tried to walk away from the product, only to be inundated with Sami Zayn won the goddamn title. I'm like, oh no, it's good. I was like, okay, you have my attention. What was every story after that? Here's how they're going to book it. Here's what's going to happen next. Casting TKO as the heel. They've taken the story and just expanded it. They always say, "Oh, we're trying new things. We're trying to be in new avenues." They're not in new avenues to like occasionally use it. They're in new avenues so they can manipulate us all further through their storytelling. Like, in some ways, I'm kind of impressed. If it wasn't like coldly dystopian and kind of scary, I'd be really impressed because they've sold our data at least 4 times. WWE has. And so when you say like, oh, they're doing these things, just kind of, they know if we do this, they'll say this. And so now, no matter what happens, they've already got tomorrow's headlines written. Either Cody knocks over Sammy and the big bad TKO is won again, or they're booking against type because of our influence, and you get to cast yourself as the babyface. And so I often point to not this simultaneous era with Austin, to where 1, you got anti-heroes, but 2, you got an outsized evidentiary claim to audience reaction. The ability to say, we'll change our storytelling based on reaction, and also anti-heroes are important. And now it's culminated in we're telling them how they're going to react. And that's the part that makes me a little feel, particularly in the WWE side, a little bit gross of kind of the fact that I just said that and you knew exactly the 2 camps and you knew exactly how it was going to play out. We know how Tuesday works depending on what happens tonight. And that's, I don't know, that's where I feel the stagnation.
2 years ago, I interviewed LA Knight. I think it was before Crown Jewel, going into a match with Roman Reigns. He's in the same spot he was in. And Drew McIntyre's in the same spot he was in. And it looks like Sheamus is out the door. And the New Day's out the door. And Jimmy and Jay, for all the things that Jay did to make himself a star, same spot. And again, it's whenever I put my dinner on Instagram, I'll take a picture, and sometimes I'll just rotate the plate. And I was like, same food, but it looks better. It's more appealing. Same meal, same nutrition. Nothing's really changing. It is. I look at like a Maya World, who, God bless her, going through it right now. And I'm glad that she has something like wrestling and is in a world where I get to wrestle my mentor and I get to wrestle my idol in consecutive weeks. My dream is there. Yeah. I don't know the dreams on the other side all the time. I look at I feel like Ricky's in a great spot. I feel like Trick's in a great spot. Melo's in a great spot, but they're all in that spot together. And you just worry that they're going to be in that spot together a year from now and 2 years from now and 3 years from now. It's you want more for the people you're around. You want more for the people you care about. But man, and this is my thing. And shout out to Obafemi, who one King of the Ring opted for a rubber match. And
because they told you what they wanted. They told us. They told us after Vegas 2.0, we'll see when that match happens. It'll be in Saudi Arabia next year when I won't be watching because it's a Saudi show.
Yeah. And so again, what was fun 30 years ago was this isn't a thing that we saw, but you had to start. It became less about good guys and bad guys and more about motivations. What are you working for? What do you need? For a lot of guys, it was. I got the most interesting thing about the whole nWo time. You go from two guys in WCW, and pick any two names, being in a blood feud, to having to say, look, it's comic book 101. Oh, Batman and Superman are fighting. The real threat is on the horizon, and we got to figure out a way to coexist to get this thing out of here. So you had your Lugers, your Stings, your Flairs, guys who were in and out of the nWo. Like, we got to find a way to make this thing shake, because whatever problems we have, this thing is here to destroy us all.
It felt really desperate. It felt like you're biting it, and part of it is laundering Rey Mysterio into the side of a trailer. But part of it is just like you said, it is all these people it's putting together a War Games team with Ric Flair and Roddy goddamn Piper on the same team, because they got to do something to stop Hogan. It has to. You created a villain. You created an anime villain. You said, hey, we're going to fight Cell at the end of this motherfucker, and we'll see who steps up. And guess what? It happened to be Sting, who I can still do the speech from Uncensored 97. A man's hurt. No, I'm not going to do it. But it does harken back to like a thing that I think of when we talk about motivation, talk about elevation of these talents. Ric Flair was ensconced in a U.S. title feud from 1976 on 1981. Yeah. And that's when he wins his first world title. That being said, the world is different. That was, you got Ric Flair twice a month, and you had to see it live. We get these motherfuckers at least 6 hours a week. And so, like,
3 hours with an overrun, baby. I'll see you on Thunder. And hey, man, if you got time to watch Saturday night, and hey, if you wake up early enough, you might catch them on Worldwide. Yeah.
I didn't build my schedule in 5-minute increments around those things. No, that's good. That'd be crazy. I would never do that. That'd be insane.
6:05, we was locked in.
You got to be. And so, Cam, I respect your time to get you out of here on this, man. We look back at the nWo, and this has always been a business of, call it what you will. It's art. It's obviously art, but it's always been about moving merch and selling tickets. And for a lot of how poorly a lot of wrestling merch ages, I throw on a black nWo right now and feel pretty comfortable anywhere I walk into. Has there been a bigger lasting cultural impact than just the shorthand of, I'm rocking a nWo shirt? Dog, I bought one of those black and white Sting shirts. No one knows where the Scorpion's from. I thought that shit would last the test of time. No one. However, if I rock an nWo right now, I'm getting too sweeted down the street. I don't care where I'm standing. I
have a black and white tank top. I have a red and black halter, because, I'm one of those guys. I have an nWo.
He's calling himself a slut, guys. He's calling himself a slut.
I have an nWo Texas shirt. I have a shout out to Off the Rope. I have a Kevin Nash FUBU jersey with him posed up big like this with 05 behind him. I'm in the game, baby. Like, no, it is. And honestly, I think that the numbers might not reflect this. You can wear an nWo shirt anywhere. You can't wear an Austin 316 shirt everywhere. Like, as dope as it is, there's something that sticks about. Like, we were at the Netflix brunch after Mania Night 2. And
I need the bell. I'm buying a new bell next time I talk. This is ridiculous.
What's my man's name? Hit Boy, Drake producer Hit Boy. Hit Boy's at the brunch, like with his boys, and in his last video, nWo shirts. Like, it just, yeah, it sticks,
You can't wear a DX shirt. You can't walk around suck it on your back. You can't. Is this the last cool piece of wrestling merch? I guess the Bullet Club shirts are too overdone. Like, I don't know. This is the last. And let's talk about, like, before we get out of here, the Impact. Who isn't trying to capture an NWS kind of lightning in a bottle? And I'm not talking about red and black and silver and gold and Horace Hogan out here in the motherfucker. I'm not about the dilution of the product. I'm talking about that good vintage Ted DiBiase, Rick Rude shave to be here so his Truzy shit was fucking taped on Raw. Like, this is the NWO I'm talking about. Like, that's the event that I may buy a black and white shirt. My birthday's next week. I'm about to get me a brand new one. I need
the core six, man. Hogan, Hall, Nash, DiBiase, Giant, 6. Yeah, right. Like, that was when it don't get much better than that. You know what I mean? And of course, there are iterations, and I think so. You talk about Impact. Changed Scott Steiner's life. We don't have a Braun Breaker if we don't get NWO Hollywood
for the better or for the worse.
Well, yeah,
it definitely changed it. It definitely changed his life.
It put him in position to succeed. You know, but
as coach speak, I love it.
Hey, man, I think that you got the most out of Lex Luger that you would ever get. DDP being adjacent sent him out of here. It made Sting the Steve Austin is, biggest modern star in wrestling. Whatever metrics you use between him and Hogan, great. We know Rock is out of here. He's in a whole different stratosphere. Yep. It made Sting the biggest babyface to ever come out of there. Like, real babyface.
18 months, 0 bumps. 18 months.
Listen,
0 bumps.
It is like, I blame Wade Keller. I used to dog Sting about that. Boy, that boy was just collecting a check. He was just in the gym, getting strong, sitting around, looking good.
Kevin Nash is weeping like he did it.
He did it. It was, but yeah, it genuinely. The reason, like, you talk about the design being so simple, right? Yeah. But it changed the trajectory of people who were already successful and were going to make it. But it made them huge. Like, Goldberg, Hogan, Monday night.
No.
Atlanta.
No. That was a big pop. The bigger pop that no one talks about. Georgia Dome. Luger taps that motherfucker. That's the pop. Everyone's like, that's the biggest pop I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. I don't care what you're talking. I went to an Olympics in Atlanta. I've never heard a noise like that.
But to put a pin in all of it.
Yes.
It's the perfect encapsulation of what the NWO really was. Mm-hmm. Because while you could overcome, it was still Hulk Hogan you were trying to overcome.
And he's got Hogan the pin, baby.
As a baby face, as a heel, as a tweener, as an old man, as a manager, you're fighting something even bigger than the New World Order. You're fighting the ego of Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So Luger on Monday night made it happen. Got his ass to hog wild. I'll see you. I'll see you.
I'm going to come off that bra.
it gets no better than that moment. I 100% agree with you. What and then I talked to your man about it, and one of the reasons that Sting is so successful, I am a man of faith. All of my friends are not. I don't have the faith that Sting has, though. Sting believes in a way that you can hear it in his voice, you can hear it in the way that he moves, the things that he wants. But when you ask him about it, he said, Cam, got to the building that day, one thing was happening. A couple hours passed, something totally different was happening. So, well, that is Hulk Hogan to a T. And he didn't badmouth that man at all when he said it. I was like, I know you're going to say
I need people to understand this. I need people to understand this. Sting's character went from Captain Planet to Batman. And again, this is all allegedly. I didn't talk to anybody. I don't have any sources. He apparently was living so wild that's how he ended up today. The most devout person you know has got stories that'll make your toes curl. And Sting apparently started most of them.
Man was living different. Man was living real different. And a lot of times that's how you get home, though. You gotta. It's a long way around third base, but man, it changed a lot of lives, Palm. Changed a lot of lives, including ours, because like you said, culture, in a way that we can process it and digest it and live it, exists because they were combining these elements of the things that we love, from the music to the style to the violence to the that's not real, but this is real. Yeah. The way they were able to navigate that is, again, why guys like us are in the position that we're in, why we can talk about things in the way that we do, and it resonate with people, because we lived through that, and that formed a lot of the way that we go about things. Yeah.
While we patiently wait for your PWI cover story, tell everyone where they can find you and all your work, my good friend.
Yeah, man. Yahoo Uncrowned. Shout out to the big homie Ariel Helwani. Shout out to my man Shaheen Al Shadi, my editor. Got a lot going on over there. Most recently, did a feature with Sol Ruka after beating Becky Lynch. You can start from the jump. We got Trick Williams, we got Daniel Garcia, Bailey, 2 shots with Obafemi. There's a lot of good work there, not just me, the team as well. You can still find me, at the Ringer. You can still find the archives over there. A lot of really good long form, 2,000-word stories. Most recently, outside of kind of the places where I'm properly employed, the BRP 50. Shout out to Black Wrestling Podcast, my man Cal, Math, Fam, Lovely, Mimi. Everybody over there. I wrote a feature on the New Day, just about their value and what they've meant to me, what they've meant to us. And I did something different. I actually reached out to 3 of my homies on the Independents and let them write a paragraph about what the New Day meant to them, because Palm, you and I can do this all day, but guys like that inspired these guys to go do the job and to go put in the work. The best thing about it for me was every WWE superstar can't watch every independent match. But because I know those guys, I know they read your words. And so they know who you are and how you feel about them. So yeah, shout out to the BRP 50. And like we said, the fall edition, God, the year's going by so quick. You're probably going to have that on newsstands in about a month. So go to your local Walmart, go to your local Barnes and Noble. If you see Trick Williams on the cover, know that me and the big homie, we did some magic, man. Writing for magazines is very different than writing online features. And so you have to be a bit more concrete in your verbiage. You can't just post a hot link and let somebody go see it. So it was fun to do that type of exercise in a different way. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely, man. I'm doing something, everything. Something a little of everything somewhere, but yeah, expect to see that on your newsstand soon. Again, Yahoo Uncrowned, the Ringer, the Internet, Seahawk. I'm around, and TikTok. I fucking guess. That's Seahawk with an E at the end. I got some fun stuff over there. And probably the next thing, we do have All In coming up. I got a feature I'm working on with Kendall Gray, new NXT Women's Champion. Had a really cool conversation. Yeah, so yeah, man, just working, trying to make this thing happen for as long as I can. Yeah.
Guys, he is the best professional wrestling writer on the planet. He brings life to these stories, but most importantly and most honorably, he's actually my friend. Thank you, man, for taking the time out. I really appreciate it. And eventually, when you do come through Atlanta, I saw you react to the ribs pictures. I'll get you some ribs. I got you.
I'm gonna need that to happen, man. I'm actually it's funny. My mom's dating again, and she's like, I'm going on a cruise, and then I'm gonna be home for a bit. Of course, home for me, Southern Maryland. I said, when you coming back? She said, the 26th. She left a week ago. That lady's in love, and salute to her for it. But I say all that to say, I plan on spending a bit more time that way because our family's there. I think he has guy she's seeing has a house out there. So, I'm coming your way. It's been way too long. I've been back and forth. I basically live in San Antonio again because Rosie lives in San Antonio. Yeah. So it's been a lot of me being home but not home. So yeah, it'll be nice to make a little move. So I will let you know when I'm headed that way, sir.
Please do, brother. Please do. Again, thank you guys for listening. We'll be back on Friday. I think we'll be back on Friday. Felder's got all the ACC media days because all my friends really do this. I just have fun with it. But we'll see what happens. I'm trying to get something moving for you guys. I hope Sami Zayn keeps his title. I hope this is recorded and all my fears are allayed. But as his old Twitter handle used to be, I like Sami Zayn, and I do too. But thank you guys for listening. We'll be back again, hopefully later this week. Brought to you by the MTR Network. Go ahead.
Paul, are you watching?
No, I'm not.
I'll wait till we're done, and I'm gonna flip my iPad to you when we're done.
I'm already mad. That was your show. There is no outro. See you guys later this week. God damn it! What happened?